Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, thank you for your service to our country. I have to say, though, that this hearing, for many Americans watching, has been quite nauseating thus far. The carefully read, scripted statements. I'm not sure you're here to answer questions, sir. I suspect that you're here to present a prepared narrative to the inquiries of Congress. You had stated that we're not saying don't come. We're saying don't come now. I can tell you, my sources tell me they're coming now, and they're coming through the year. You look at the cartels have 2 million in the pipeline. We're absolutely looking at a 20-year high for illegal crossings at our southern border. Well, my colleagues across the aisle, not even mentioning the cartels. America's watching this. For God's sakes, we're going to blame President Trump? You mentioned a 2019 surge. Yeah, we had a surge in 2019 because the cartels were paying attention to the election cycle in 2018 when the Democrats took the majority. We had to use every available legal power to reestablish control in 2019. We did. We had this thing down to a manageable threat. What happened? We have a 2021 surge. Why? Let me just put it out there. What happened between the control that we had and what we have now? You had the election in November of 2020, and President Biden was inaugurated on January the 20th. Americans know, they get it. The cartels are paying attention. They've loaded up their pipeline. We got 2 million illegal immigrants headed our way, and I don't believe you have a plan to deal with it. And let me say regarding FEMA, if there's not a crisis or a humanitarian disaster at the southern border, then may I please suggest we take our FEMA disaster response teams deployed there and send them somewhere where they're needed, like my district in southwest Louisiana, where there's still hurricane victims waiting on temporary housing. Let me ask you a question that perhaps you can answer, Mr. Secretary. Do you agree that the world is currently experiencing a pandemic? And does the world include nations such as Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Colombia, Venezuela, Panama, Cuba, China, Iran? Is the world experiencing a pandemic?
Congressman, let me assure you of one thing before I answer your question, which is, despite our strong differences of opinion, I look forward to working with you towards shared goals.
That's very kind of you. Are we experiencing a pandemic?
Of course, the world is experiencing a pandemic.
Okay, we're experiencing a pandemic, and we're experiencing massive surges of illegals crossing our southern border. You're the head of the Department of Homeland Security. Are we testing individuals in the facilities prior to their release into the United States? Simple question.
And I have a very direct answer. Thank you, Congressman. It is indeed our policy to test individuals before releasing them, and we have,
are we testing them before or after the process?
We have a process set up to do so. And if you'd like, I can explain that process. It has 4 parts.
No, what I'd like you to do is just tell us. I have several questions. Are we testing these illegal immigrants that are being released into our nation? Are we testing them before or after their process? You said they're being tested, that you have a plan in place.
We most certainly do. There are 4 ways in which we accomplish the testing.
Okay, you're welcome to submit that in writing. I'm reclaiming my time. To me, I think the American people are witnessing a question dodged. The bottom line is illegal immigrants are being processed at the border and released into our nation that have either not been tested or tested positive for COVID. I don't think I'm going to get a straight answer from you. And I have another simple question. Do you believe that the policies initiated by President Biden since his inauguration have impacted the issues on the southern border and increased illegal crossing? Do you believe the cartels were paying attention all last year when then candidate Biden was messaging that he was going to weaken the law enforcement mission, provide some kind of a path towards amnesty or citizenship, process when the illegal crossings in a manner that was more conducive to their reception in the United States. He messaged that again and again and again. Do you think the cartels heard that? Do you think that maybe has something to do with what we're dealing with right now?
Congressman, I share a background with Ranking Member Katko and Congressman McCall.
My goodness gracious.
federal-
I'm not going to get a yes or no out of you. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to submit my questions in writing because you're not here to answer hard questions, sir. You're here to repeat narratives that's been prepared by staff and attorneys. And I don't appreciate you dodging these questions. Mr. Chairman, I'm going to yield my time and submit my questions officially in writing to the Secretary, and I'm going to expect them to be answered. And if they're not, we're going to make some noise. I yield.